Alright, what's going on, y'all? So if you're a fan of game collecting, playing games, whether it's new or old, I want to do a quick video here talking about the advantages and disadvantages of going to retro game stores versus GameStops. So let's begin by highlighting the main qualities that make a dedicated retro game store great and not so great. First up, a dedicated retro game stores typically carry only used games of all platforms and only the newest releases, usually dating back about 6 months or so. And because they specialize in used retro games, you're most likely getting an authentic game and they have checked whether or not it's going to function, and you can sometimes either buy a warranty or they'll have some sort of return period. Second off, if you're looking for something specific, they most likely will have it, and if they don't, sometimes, but not all the times, they'll actually take your name down and your number and they will call you when it does come in, so that's pretty sweet. And now for a couple negatives. For a collector, you might think it's great that they have such a large selection of games, but here lies the problem of pricing. While they may have what you're looking for, you're most likely going to pay a little bit of a premium over what you could possibly get online. Most retro game stores will put their games a little bit above what price charting says, either $5 to $10 or 5 to 10% or sometimes more. One example was Ghosts and Goblins on the NES. Price charting shows it at about a $15 game, and it's been this way for quite some time. The most recent store I was in had it for $35. That's more than double what the game should cost you. And they even had Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo, which is usually a $20, $25 game, at $40. So you're still paying almost double again. So while you really may want that game, you know, like me being a collector, I'm not going to pay such an inflated price. Okay, so now let's talk about GameStop and the pros and cons. So GameStop, of course, is going to carry mostly the newest releases, and you can also pre-order those new releases. And sometimes they'll have promotions along with that where you can get some sort of discount on those new releases, especially if you're a pro member. We're going to get more into that. Now, for used games, they have a nice selection of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which makes sense. Those are the most recent consoles. And if you're looking for something specific on either of those platforms, most likely it's going to come into that GameStop someday, so check back regularly and you'll probably find it. Now, when it comes to what GameStop deems to be retro, we're looking at anything PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and back. Now, when it comes to actually finding this stuff, it's total luck of the draw. You're going to walk into just about any game store, whether it's retro or not, and they may or may not have some NES, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation 1 games. You have no idea. Now, as a collector, this is awesome because I really love the thrill of the hunt. It's a lot of fun, and most collectors will probably agree with me that it's pretty sweet. I've even heard stories of them just giving away some retro games because if they can't pull that game up in their system, they actually can't sell it again. So either the employee holds on to it or they just give it away for free. And what's really great about this is that the pricing is usually pretty good at GameStop because GameStop seems to go based upon what price targeting shows based on the loose copy of the game. So whether or not it's a loose cartridge or loose disc, that's what the game will be priced at, even if it comes with the manual in the box. So that's pretty cool. Not only are you having the thrill of the hunt, but you're also getting a good deal. Not to mention, if you are one of those GameStop Pro members, you get 5% off of all used games. And sometimes they run promotions, like most recently they had a 10% off of all used games. And that went on for a full 2 weeks. And I'll give some examples of some of the good prices I've found. So something like Conker's Bad Fur Day is about a $110 game. I was able to get from GameStop for about $100, plus I had the 5% off for the membership, so I got it for $95. Another recent one is I got Pokemon Stadium 2, and they had it priced at $65, when that's about what price charting says, but because they had the 10% off, I got it for $6 less than that. So you can definitely find some good deals, but again, you never know what you're going to find. But that's, again, the thrill of the hunt, and I love it. And I think most collectors will agree with me that that's what makes it fun. Now, there are a few drawbacks, and that has to do with authenticity. You got to be very careful if you're going to buy something like Game Boy Advance or maybe even Super Nintendo, because the GameStop employees are not really going to check if this stuff is legit copies of the games or just reproductions. So you got to be very careful on that. But they do have a 7-day return policy on their pre-owned stuff, and then a 14-day return policy on their unopened sealed games. So let me know your thoughts on this topic. Do you go shopping at retro game stores, or are you a collector and love the thrill of the hunt and go to as many GameStops as you can looking for those unexpected finds? Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Hit that like and subscribe if you want to hear more.